It is Friday, Wareham. Good morning. It is Friday, April 19th, and we have a great show here for you. The news headlines, the weather report, and today in history. We have great programs, including traveling to Zanzibar and bite on the exotic fruit. And also, if you love cars, well, how about making them? Get your kit of the American sport car when you visit the Factory 5 Racing. And also, Indiana Trope is in the building. I was almost about to call him Indiana Jones. The president of Wareham 8th grade class is in the building this morning to discuss what 8th graders have been up to. And I didn't forget, I mentioned Friday, which Friday in the studio means Nadia Karitnakova. So Nadia, instead of covering the news behind the desk, Nadia and I will be sitting during the coffee segment and digest further into the week events. And one of the biggest stories we'll be discussing today is the Stop and Shop strike. But before all of that, I would like to take this moment to thank Not Your Average Antiques, an antique shop down Cranberry Highway in East Wareham, for donating the props that you see in the morning show. So stay with me because the weather, the traffic report, and the news headlines are next. It is going to be a warm Easter weekend, but a wet one too. Rain showers along with windy conditions will be today's recipe. High at 62 degrees, winds at 20 to 30 miles per hour. High wind gusts are a possibility. Tonight, temperatures will drop, but not significantly, to 57 degrees. Wind and showers will continue to tomorrow. Temperatures will rise to a high near 65, winds 20 to 30 miles per hour. Temperatures will drop at night to 54 degrees. And Sunday, Easter, well, great weather, 61 for high, 48 for low, and some showers in the morning. Expect normal traffic at Route 3 and 495. Weather conditions are great. And safe travels, everyone. And now to the news. There were a few news stories over the week, and here are the headlines. Wareham Week newspaper had the following headlines: storage housing funding up for voters at town meeting on April 22nd. Using marijuana revenue to fund a new police station, limits on front yard storage, tax agreement with 4 new solar farms, and new senior housing are all up for voters at town meeting during April 22nd. According to the Board of Selectmen Chair Patrick Tropiano, the warrant is relatively short, with only 23 articles, many of which are the same articles voted on each year. All registered voters are invited to participate in Wareham's annual town meeting at 7 p.m. in the auditorium at Wareham High School on Viking Drive. This special town meeting will begin at 7:30, after which the regular town meeting will resume. Many of the same articles that are voted on every year will be decided on by voters, including a capital plan, budget, funding for union negotiations, and funding for Wareham's share of the Upper Cape Regional Technical School. Voters will also decide on a number of bylaw amendments and proposals. And moving on to another news, Stop and Shop, well, they are going to donate their food because they're still on strike. Stop and Shop workers are still on strike and have no intentions of letting down until the ongoing labor negotiations with the Massachusetts-based grocery giant reach a common agreement. In midst of all this, perishable meats, seafood, and produce are approaching the expiration dates in the deserted aisles. So Stop and Shop is working to donate food that's not sold in stores during the work stoppage to regional food banks and local food pantries, said the company spokeswoman Amy Tybalt. And that's all for the news headlines this morning. Stay with us. We'll be right back with Indiana after this short break. So we did a little switch this morning. Instead of having Nadia Karitnakova to digest the news right after I did the news, my coffee guest, well, he's too busy. And you'll understand why. Of course, he is the president, and not that president that you're thinking about. He's the cooler president. So we welcome you, Indiana. How you doing?
Thank you. I'm doing great.
Mr. President. And you have an announcement.
I do, yeah.
Okay.
So next week, when we get back from April break, the student council will be announcing that we can run for elections for class officers, and I will be running once again for class president of our 8th grade class. So.
Wow. You heard it here live on the morning show.
Yeah.
Who is endorsing you?
I'm excited. So what we're trying to do is that our...
I keep thinking like, who's endorsing you?
Our all of our class officers are hoping to run for the same position.
Okay.
Because we really liked how it turned out this year. We really had a great year, and there's still tons of stuff in store that we'll talk about later, but we're really excited, and we're all hoping to run for the same position so we can have our same executive board there.
So there's not going to be a coup?
We're hoping not, unless, I mean, anyone, any 8th grader or any person from any grade can actually put their name in the running. You have to have 25 signatures from your fellow classmates in your grade, and just pick your position that you'd like to run for, and you can run for that. You have to write a speech and perform that in front of the whole grade at a meeting, but other than that, anyone can put their name in the running, but I'm hoping I can get that spot. In
which you respond to whoever decides to run for president, like, who the heck are you?
Oh, yeah.
And do you know who I am? I love it. Yeah. Okay, so it seems like you have a great approval rating.
Yeah, I mean, we've done a lot, and I like to think that we did a really good job. We had a great team this year, and we really accomplished a lot. We had a lot of help from Mr. Palladino and Miss Amo, who's the student council advisor, and our class advisor, Ms. Tarasconi, who helps with all our class officer meetings. We had a really great year, and we had a lot of support to do great things.
So how do you become the president of your class? How does that translate? Because it was your first head
Right.
office, right?
Right.
Okay, tell me about the transition.
So actually, in the middle school, I ran as the student council vice president. That's what I was in 7th grade. And before they announced that 8th grade was moving to the high school, my plan was to run for president of the student council at the middle school.
Okay.
And when I found out we were moving, I was hoping, because I knew they had class president and class officers in the high school, and I was hoping that they'd let the 8th graders do it too. And at first they didn't want 8th grade class officers, but after a little bit they did decide that they thought it would be a good idea.
Okay.
Yeah, after a little bit they did decide that it would be good, and we ran. We had elections, just like I talked about, 25 signatures, and we had the speeches, and I actually ran unopposed last year. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, I'm thinking like junior year, I think it's sophomore year, then you class president starts thinking about prom,
Yeah.
right? So in 8th grade, what are your biggest events?
So this year, we wanted to make this the best year possible because, as I keep saying, this was the 8th grade's first year at the high school in a while. It did happen before a while back, but recently this is the first year, and we wanted to make it the best year possible. So one of the big things we did was we planned a 8th grade Washington, D.C. trip. So we started planning that back in August, where Mr. Palladino actually approached me and asked if he thought there would be interest in a D.C. trip. And I said, I'm sure a lot of kids would love to do something like that. And we kept planning, and a while back, I can't remember the exact month, but maybe December, November, we approached the school committee at a meeting and requested that we have the trip approved. And once it was, we started planning. We reached out to companies for quotes, got the best quote, and we started getting ready to go. And on March 31st to April 3rd, we went to Washington, D.C.
Nice.
Yeah.
So how was the the whole class got to go, right? Is that
So
what it is?
it was actually a really low price. It was 4 days, and any kid that wanted to go could pay $500, something like that. It was very close to that. I might be a little off, but it's around $500 per person, and there were different ways to pay it. We had fundraisers, and so it was really any kid that wanted to go, we could. We just had to keep it to a number of about 45 or 90 because we wanted to make sure we had one bus or two buses.
Okay.
We didn't want to pay for a whole nother bus if we'd have it half full. So there were some restrictions there, but once we figured that out, and we ended up going with about 42 kids, maybe something like that, and then we had 5 chaperones.
Was this your first trip?
This was my first trip to D.C.
You were first,
I know.
and you, of course, are planning. You've been planning to be the president of the United States since age 1. So I am a little bit, shocked.
Yeah, I know. I've always wanted to go.
Then you went to visit your house. Now.
I know.
It took you forever.
I've always wanted to go, but I just finally got around to it. And they haven't done this trip to D.C. with the 8th grade since 2000 and way early 2000s, and we wanted to bring it back for the 8th graders this year, and now it'll be a tradition from now on for the 8th graders.
Were you inspired by any events in D.C.? Well, how was it like to see the White House?
It was breathtaking, especially everything's really close together in D.C. So we were at one of the monuments, and we started walking, and like 2 blocks later, we saw Secret Service and barricades, and we walked like 3 more steps, and we were at the White House.
Nice.
It was crazy.
And you were like, unreal. I'm going to live there one day. Is that what it was?
It did cross my mind, yes.
Did you approve of the surrounding?
Yeah, I liked it.
Like, I'm going to change that color. I don't really like it too much.
FDR wanted to change the color of the White House to camouflage during World War II.
So you are taking notes from FDR?
No. I like the white color.
You like the white color, okay. Yeah. Very nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so what else is the 8th graders up to?
Yeah, so one of our big things, a lot of parents and a lot of the kids were concerned about the 8th grade promotion ceremony and the 8th grade semi-formal dance that they've had for numerous years when the 8th grade was at the middle school. And there were talks of it happening, then there were talks of it not happening, and now we met with Mr. Palladino, our class officers, the other day, and I can say that we are planning a promotion ceremony and a semi-formal dinner dance for the 8th grade students.
And where will it take place? Are you guys going to use the
Yeah,
school?
we'll be at the high school.
Okay.
The promotion ceremony will happen in the 8th grade, or the high school gymnasium, and we'll have the top 2 students in our grade speak, our class advisors speak, and it'll be a really nice ceremony, and then we'll, directly following that, we'll head over to the cafeteria for a little dinner dance.
So how are the rest of the school treating you guys?
So, you know, it's funny. I was at a meeting a while back, and someone at it was a school committee meeting, and one of the school committee members asked one of the upperclassmen, "What do you think of the 8th graders?" And their response was something to the fact of, "We didn't like them at first, but they're kind of like little siblings to us, and we got used to them over time."
Yeah.
So, you know, and I love it. I love being at the high school, and I think a lot of parents and even the kids are scared that, you know, there's 18-year-olds and with kids that are 13, 14. And, you know, some of the seniors are actually now some of my best friends. So, you know, it really works out, and they're treating us just like we're part of the high school. We're all a family.
Oh, very nice. Yeah. Okay.
It's a great environment.
I would think the 9th graders are very happy to have you guys. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, not at the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah, they especially during pep rally time, they were really, because normally around pep rally time they'll get a little flack from the upperclassmen, but we got that flack instead. So.
Very nice.
Yeah.
So do you like the new home now?
I love it.
It was the best decision?
I really think it was one of the best decisions the school department has made in a long time. I think it's going to keep kids here. My best friend is planning on going to Upper Cape, but he said it was one of the toughest decisions he's ever had to make. And that's what a lot of kids are saying. A lot of kids that were even dead set on going to Upper Cape or other schools, ORR, other surrounding schools, Sturgis, all those schools, kids were really dead set on going there, and now they either have a really tough time deciding or they're staying.
That's good. That's very good to hear. So,
right.
And I know Mr. Palladino was aiming for that.
Yes,
Come and see what we have to offer,
right.
and then you guys can go. Well, that's great. Yeah. Okay, so you didn't bring us the pictures, but I hope you're gonna email them.
Yes, I will. I will.
Okay, so then we'll add it to the show on Monday.
Yeah.
We would love to see that. So I hear that so far so good. The election is coming up, and you're running for the same position. And yesterday you were talking to Elena.
Yes.
And you were. Somebody asked you, like, what are you going to do next year, something like that? You're going to be like, oh, I'm just going to be a 9th grader then? Something to that effect. Like, what are your plans?
Yeah, you know, next year, I do a lot at the high school, and I'm starting to realize that. So, you know, maybe having to cut back on some things. I don't like it, but I know. Just to, you know, have a nice focus on what I want to do. And
fantastic.
Or I'll do all the same things. We'll still have to figure it out. We were talking to Elena about, so Elena's one of the seniors, and she's one of my really good friends, and her whole friend group is who I hang out with a lot, and they're going to be graduating this year. So we were talking, she was saying, what are you going to do next year when we're all gone? And I said, I have no idea.
Yeah, I'm just going to find another senior.
Right.
There's so many of you. There's always a senior every
year.
Yeah, every
year.
Yeah, you guys think are special. Wait until you see. Oh, that's great. Yeah. And I'm really hoping that the majority of the students are having a great experience as the one that you have, because you know, you seem to be very involved and very focused. Yeah. And I told you, once you be announced, you better announce it with me first.
I will.
Wherever
you are, I'll find you.
I will hold you to that. Otherwise, I'm going to be releasing these videos.
All right.
Well, thank you so much.
No problem.
So that was Indiana, the class president of the 8th grade class at Wareham High School, talking about what 8th graders are up to. And of course, he is going to run again to be the president of the 9th grade class. And yeah, he's hoping that you will vote for him. And anybody who is looking to challenge him, well, good luck to you. And now moving on. If you love cars, well, come with me. I'm going to take you behind Factory 5 Racing. What does it mean to say 100% made in America? Join us as we go behind production with David Smith, the president of Factory 5 Racing Company. Founded in 1995, Factory 5 Racing is one of the fastest growing companies in New England. Featured in magazines such as Automobile, Car and Driver, Car Warriors, and much more, this Ford-affiliated car kit manufacturer has been the hottest thing on the tracks for years. Today, the Snap-on Tools guys are down at Factory 5 Racing, building a Daytona Coupe, a one-week project.
This is the first one of its kind.
So you're the first people to try it?
We're the first guinea pigs, but it's a 560 horsepower small block engine, so it's very cool. So it's in there, it's called the 5.2 Illuminator XS.
Within years and with tremendous interest from the clients, the company was able to grow out from a garage in Dartmouth and found a new home in Wareham Industrial Park. David, who was originally from Southern California, he couldn't be more proud to run his business right here in Wareham. Since then, Factory 5 Racing exemplifies what an American dream can look like when hard work and passion align. The company manufactures and ships car kits to all different states in America, in addition to overseas. For our first part of the tour, we are taking a look at the welding center. This is where the frames of the car are made.
So the very first thing we do is we laser cut steel and aluminum. Nate's in charge of the warehouse welding and molding. So this is the welding area. So we're cutting steel, then we're welding it into chassis like what you have back here. They start out in a fixture. So all the pieces are put in a fixture that holds them, and then they're welded up, and they come out of the fixture, and they're finished welded in a spin jig.
Wow, and how long does this process take place?
Yeah, it's about a 20-hour job per frame.
Okay.
So we have about 10 guys that work in here. We make about 10 cars per week. So we make the frame, and then we also make all the little pieces. Like these come out, and these are the aluminum pieces that make up the interior of the car, like the cockpit, where you sit, and the trunk, where your luggage goes, and all that. Okay. So this is about a $500,000 machine. It cuts the pieces according to a computer drawing.
While the frames is being built, the fiberglass station is hard at work molding the body panel for your car.
This is a good example. Ryan here is making a part that is the side part on the hot rod.
Yeah.
So this is for a 33 hot rod. This is the side of the car. And so the cut fabric has already been put in the mold. Ryan's now adding fiberglass and rolling out. What are you doing here, Ryan?
Well, basically I'm just rolling out here.
Make sure there's no air voids.
Oh yes, of course. Make sure there's no air boards. That way, no air boards can come through.
How long does it take for this part to harden?
It depends how much hardener you actually put in it. Probably around 7.5 millimeters of hardener in there. Eventually hardens to around 4 hours.
4 hours? So from the wet stage to a finished part is about a 4-hour job.
Yes.
And then this comes out of the mold, pops out of the mold, just like you take a cookie out of a muffin out of a muffin tray, and then it goes over and it gets trimmed. So here's a hot rod hood. This looks like it was just laid up. Yeah, so this is a brand new hood, and there's a side cover, and all these parts get brought over to the robot now. So this machine cuts the fabric that we use for molding. Just like cutting fabric for clothing, this cuts fabric that goes into a mold. And then it's mixed with fiberglass and it hardens into a shape. This robot actually goes, it's a 5-axis mill. So this fixture here tells the computer what it's going to cut.
Okay.
So it knows that it's going to cut a trunk for a Cobra.
Yeah.
Or a door or a hood. So the parts start out in their raw state. They get bound, and then they get, so this would be the inside of the hood.
Yes.
So when I lift the car hood up, that's the inside. Now this gets bonded to another piece that makes up the hood. It's like a clamshell. And then the CNC robot trims it. And then the finished parts go to the other side of the wall.
Okay, so the robot does all the work. You don't necessarily have to be here to...
Oh yeah, you close the door and it does it to work on its own. Yeah, it's kind of fun because we used to hand trim these, and we throw away a lot of parts because if you don't trim it right,
Yes.
but the robot does it perfect every time. So our scrap rate went really down low. You have a CNC laser cutting machine, a CNC cloth cutting machine, and a CNC robot. And CNC stands for computer number control. It means that it follows a path according to mathematics. So it's pretty cool.
And you pride yourselves for better technology that allows
Yeah.
you to do the best work you could do with lower cost. And this also, the lower cost transfers to the customer. They don't have to pay as much.
The way to think about it is like in the 1970s, kit cars were garbage. They were terrible. The technology has changed everything. So our kids' bicycles and skateboards and motors, everything's better today. So a build-it-yourself car kit is based on real high technology tools. So it costs less, but it's also better technology, so it performs better.
Very good.
Yeah, so this is the laser, and then over here is the chassis assembly area. So now we're going to bring together the welded frame and the fiberglass body. So here's a hot rod body,
Wow.
and here's a hot rod frame. So this is the frame that was being welded in welding
Yes.
next to the laser. The gentleman was welding it. So what happens is Aaron here is bending aluminum pieces, and those aluminum pieces go inside the car.
Yes.
So this is the hot rod frame. The aluminum pieces get bent, and then we put the body on it. And remember, when a customer gets this at home, he has to take this apart and start with a bare frame and start building his car. But we kind of show him where everything goes by
Yes.
mounting it in advance.
For those who are like me, just allergic to reading manuals, you'll be happy to know that Factory 5 Racing offers a school that teaches how to build a car in just 3 days.
So you saw the hood that I showed you? Well, now this hood is getting ready to go to a customer, and basically the part that I showed you was this part.
Yes.
And you saw there was steel behind here, and the robot trimmed this line.
Yeah.
It trimmed it, and it drilled the holes, and it drilled the holes. So this part here was really a CNC computer cut the fabric, our guys rolled it out, and then the trimmer trimmed it and made it perfect. So now, when you get this at home, this is the hood to your Cobra, you know, you have to sand this and paint it. But it's
Okay.
actually it's pretty close.
Oh,
you know.
very good.
It still needs body work, but it's a pretty nice part. So these parts are all part of inventory, and this whole area here is for finished goods. So as we build a car, we package it, and we package it according to sub-assemblies. So your brakes and your brake calipers and your rotors and your fuel lines and your brake lines and all the parts that go into a car are along here. And so, you know, here would be an example of fasteners. Every single part has a part number and a barcode, so we know how many get used in every car. So as customers order cars, we know what parts to order. And all of these fasteners go with different parts of the kit, like let's say you're putting your battery in the car, right? Well, this is the battery cable that goes from the battery to the starter, and it's the right length, and it's made to fit your car. And then it comes with little fasteners that fasten it to the frame. It's kind of one step in many. So all of these are customer cars going out the door. This customer here, his Cobra, and this one, and this. Each one is different, and some have the same parts, some have different parts. It depends on what parts are ordered. So we weld the frames, we make the fiberglass, we bring the parts together, we package all the parts, and then they go in one big box that goes off to where were we
going to
going?
Sweden.
Yeah. So we have a Swedish fish car over here.
The cars are all made to order. Every part built is a car sold. On average, Factory 5 Racing makes 10 cars a week. That is 2 cars every day. The time frame from when you submit an order online to when it is shipped to you, you may be looking an average of 6 weeks to 3 months.
Yeah, and all these cars up here are for different customers. And they ordered a different model. They want to build one car versus another car. And the neat thing is that every Factory 5 that we sell, 1 out of 5 go outside the country, so export. And 1 out of 5 go to someone who already built a Factory 5. So a lot of guys will build a car, and then they'll drive it for a while, and maybe they'll sell it and build another one. It's a hobby. So it's something fun to do with your spare time.
Now, I see 2 colors, black and red. Does it mean that if you get a red frame, that's going to be the color?
It's actually, no, that's a special model.
Okay.
And so we use a different gel coat so it's easy to know when you look at the rack.
Okay.
And also for a race car, if it's a competition car, it has a white chassis. If you saw the Snap-on car, it has a white chassis. All the other cars are black chassis. Those are street cars.
Okay.
So white is used in racing so that if you're racing and part of your frame is cracked, you can see a cracked weld. You can see, because the white shows black.
Yes.
Black is for street cars, because street cars don't get the kind of abuse that a race car gets.
Made in America is the core to what Factory 5 Racing is as a company. But of course, this honor comes with higher prices. However, David does not look at the cost. He holds to the concept that Factory 5 Racing car is an American traditional car, and therefore it wouldn't make sense to have it built anywhere else but right here at home. Everything is made right here.
Everything's made in the United States, so it's kind of something I'm proud of, yeah.
Very good. You don't get to hear that a lot nowadays.
Well, you know, this area 100 years ago was the wealthiest part of the country. There was fishing and textiles and all these industries. And over time, all those industries kind of went away. And I like to think that we have so many reasons to live here. We have a great workforce, talented workers. We've got, I think, a nice economy, and we've got great vocational schools and good educational support. We have the tech corridor of Boston up north. We have affordable property in the area. This is a great place to run a business. You just have to believe in it. You know, we're not going to be, we're not going after whales anymore.
Yes.
Different kind of technology.
And in the website, you talked about family, that community, and not only you're building cars, but you're building friendship and community. So also adds the idea of if it was made another place, then you lose that sense of community.
Yeah, and the truth is that we have the nicest company because we don't sell cars. This is what we sell,
yes,
right? But what's in the showroom is what our customers end up building. So we are represented by our customers. We are in collaboration with our customers. If we don't help our customers build a good car, their car looks bad, then we look bad. These are family heirlooms. I mean, when a customer builds one of these cars, it's valuable. And sometimes it's handed down from a father to a son or to a daughter. And so it's kind of a cool concept that underneath everything we do is the idea of collaboration and building.
The company is still growing. It will soon be offering an all-body car option on top of the fiberglass one.
So it's something that we haven't launched yet, but we
Okay.
just started making it. So we should get the bodies in about 3 months.
The future also looks bright to those who prefer buying a car rather than purchasing a kit. With the new upcoming edition, I'm happy to say that Factory 5 Racing will soon be making all ready-to-sell cars. The building school may take 3 days, but your own project may take an average of 260 hours, which may translate from 6 months to a year, depending on your schedule. How does it feel to have built your own car versus buying a car?
I think in our customers, this
Yeah.
is so true. Anytime you see a customer, I always smile because I know what they're going to say. Let me show you what I built.
Okay.
You know, people have a lot of pride in what they build. And like sometimes you meet someone at work and they say, oh, here's pictures of my kids.
Yes.
Some of our customers have pictures of their car on their wall and say, let me show you a picture of my car. I think when you put yourself into something,
Yes.
you create it, you have a lot of pride in it. So the car that you love the most is the one you built. You have much more of a connection to it. If you go out and you buy a car off a showroom floor, it doesn't have the same meaning. But when you struggle and work and for 6 months or a year on something, then when it's done, you have a ton of pride in it. And that's really what we sell, is that experience of building something great.
What's the message you have for those who maybe are thinking, okay, this is cool, but I don't know where to start?
Yeah.
What would you tell them?
Well, first of all, it's not for everyone.
Okay.
I think that being honest with yourself, if you've never worked on a car, you don't want to start building a Ferrari, right? Maybe start on a Volkswagen, you know? But if you're into cars and you've loved cars your whole life and maybe you've done a restoration project, this is a natural thing to do. It's not very difficult. It's really all the new parts, so it's really an assembly job, not welding. But I'd say start, look at the brochure,
Yes.
talk to other customers. Maybe even if you have some ideas, take the build school. You can take a class and build the car with a bunch of customers, and then you know, oh, that's something I can do, or maybe something I should avoid.
What a great program. I mean, just looking at it back then, I'm like, ooh, it would be cool to have one of those cars. But of course, you have to assemble them yourself. And that's where, that doesn't work. Me reading a manual. Anyways, moving on. So grab your passport because we are going to Zanzibar. And do not forget to bring your taste bugs. This is the rambutan tree,
a tropical fruit that is native to Southeast Asia, especially areas of Malaysia and Indonesia. The tree produces fruits by the name of rambutan, or shoki shoki, as Zanzibarians call it. Rambutan fruits belong in the soapberry family. There are more than 200 varieties of rambutan fruit, but only a few are cultivated and consumed by humans. The fruit can be used to treat diarrhea and is also said to help preventing cell damage.
A little jelly texture like, and there's a seed, a big seed in the middle. Yes, delicious. A very weird text. I haven't tried anything like this before. But yeah, jelly-like texture, semi-sweet, and a humongous seed in the middle.
Its leaves can treat headaches and tongue disorders, while its roots can be used to soothe a fever. This is a jackfruit tree that originates from South Asia. Being a tropical plant, it thrives in areas where temperatures are warm and moisture is abundant.
And this is called jackfruit. Again, one of those strange fruits that you find in Zanzibar or in some country in Africa. You also find this in the mainland in Tanzania, the lesson.
The number of seeds that can be found in this fruit range from 100 to 500. The fruit's flesh is very sweet. Its flavor is a combination of mango, banana, melon, and papaya.
It does smell sweet, but this one is not as ripe as it should, so it's not as sweet. But when it gets very ripe, these fruits, the inside that we're going to be eating, will turn extremely yellow. You'll smell the sugar from this fruit. But it does smell delicious. I actually found this fruit in Whole Foods Market in Boston. I do not know where they imported it from. I was very excited to see this there. So let's try this, and I will compare the taste from there and the taste from here. So this is how you remove it. You see, they're like tiny little petals. Yeah. You remove it like this. You remove this skin that covers the seed, and then you make sure it's all clean. So at the end, you have this as a product. It's good. It's good. I'm telling you, it's not as sweet because it's not as ripe. But you can buy it as this, and then bring it to your house and have it ripe over time. So it's very delicious. This is very common. You find most people eating this in the mainland here in Zanzibar.
Extract from the roots of the jackfruit tree can be used to treat fever, asthma, and diarrhea.
And then on top, as you see, this is very sticky. It's like glue-like. So when you're eating this, you have a little bit of cooking oil next to you, so you can apply it on your palms. Ooh, and you can see, hey, you can dress me but never take me anywhere. So you kind of apply there, and it will kind of take that glue out. But at the end of the day, you smell like cooking oil. That's not a thing. But thank you for joining me once again. We're in Zanzibar. We are trying different things. We try food, we try fruits, and it seems like only here you'll find all these exotic fruits that you can eat and just enjoy. Thank you.
Okay, welcome back. Now moving on, let's take a look at where we are, or we were, today in history. Oh, I didn't. Thank you for joining us for the Good Morning Wareham show. We are filming live from our WCTV studio in Wareham. And of course, it's the history segment. And today's history, we are going to start in 1775.
The American Revolution begins on this day as the shot heard around the world is fired during the Battle of Lexington and Concord. Patriots Paul Revere, Samuel Prescott, and William Dawes are captured by the British as they try to warn about the fighting. And we're going to move on to 1901, another piece of American history. Emilio Aguinaldo, the leader of the Filipino rebellion, was captured on this day. He told his fellow revolutionaries to work with the United States in peaceful talks for their nation's freedom. The U.S. would only grant the country independence in 1946. And in 1934, Shirley Temple appeared in her first ever movie called Stand Up and Cheer at the age of just 5 years old. She would continue to act for decades, well into the 1960s. And in 1897, the first ever Boston Marathon, and it has been held annually for over 100 years. The first ever winner was John McDermott from New York, who finished the marathon in just under 3 hours. And of course, happy birthday to everyone celebrating their big day today. Stay with us. The coffee segment is next. But first, let's take a look at our events calendar. Hello and welcome back. We are filming live from our WCTV studio at 505 Main Street. This is Good Morning Wareham, and this is the coffee segment. With me is Nadia Karitnokova, our weekly borrowed reporter from Wareham Week, joining us, and we have a few stories to digest. One of them, the biggest one, being the Stop and Shop ongoing strike. Welcome.
Hi, Queen.
Hi, how you doing?
Great, thanks.
So you got to see the whole show today.
Yes, for the first time.
And what's your take?
I like this history segment. I didn't know that you cover history outside the Wareham. Yes.
You see, we are national, we are international. Just people, our audiences out there have not discovered us yet. But we're out there.
And I also didn't know that Boston Marathon was over 100 years old.
Me neither.
I didn't know this is such a long tradition.
I know. I looked, and first of all, last Sunday, wasn't it? Where
yes.
they ran? Yeah. Oh, Monday. Monday. And it was terrible outside. Rainy.
Yes.
And people are still out there. I think a Kenyan fella won.
Yes.
Oh, okay. They always win.
Yes, and I attended the Boston Marathon last year, and I think they won as well.
You know what? I'm thinking Kenyans should have their own, I don't know, Nairobi Marathon. So if they compete with fellow Kenyans, I'm sure the same ones who keep winning, they may not win.
Yes.
You know, yeah.
And it's interesting to see how much the time has improved. First, you mentioned that the first winner finished marathon in just under 3 hours.
Yes.
Today, winners finish marathon in like about 2.5 hours.
Absolutely.
Yes.
People cannot sit there and watch you run for all those hours.
Yes.
Yeah, but it's very interesting. It's a great tradition, and people really vehemently practice it and support it. I've yet to attend, I've yet to watch, I've yet to care. But for those who do, good for them. So we have a lot of news.
Yes.
You guys were busy.
Yes, a lot of interesting news. But first, I want to mention that Onset Fire Department has recently opened its application, and they are looking for 20 on-call firefighters who will undergo a year-long program during which the students will learn the basic fundamentals of firefighting techniques as well as learn medical skills. So people who enroll in this program, they will learn how to battle fires, save lives, rescue people. So basically be like a real-life superhero. And
it's interesting how firefighters are superheroes, but nurses aren't. You know, when you look at discounts, say if you're a firefighter, you're a veteran, then you get a specific discount, let's say air flights, whatever. But they never list nurses or doctors. Yeah, interesting too. Or police officers. Yeah. But yeah, so they're looking in it looks like they have the money to fund for this.
yes, so the program is going to be paid by Onset Fire Department, so it's free for the students. And for the year, people will work twice a week. We'll do 3-hour shift twice a week, and 6-hour shift on the weekends, Saturday, Sunday. And the qualified students must be 18 years or older, pass background check and a physical test.
Okay, 1 second. We seem to be having technical difficulties. Could we go to a short break as we take care of what's happening? What is going on?
Your mic died.
We're continuing our discussion with Nadia Karitnakova, and I'm sorry of the technical difficulties there. We had a mic problem that we just fixed. So Nadia, could we go again talking about the announcement, firefighters?
Yes, the Onset Fire Department is actively recruiting on-call firefighters who will undergo a year-long program during which they will learn the fundamentals of firefighting and basic medical skills that will help you to save people's lives. The applicants can pick up their applications at Onset Fire Department, located on 5 East Central Avenue, and they must be 18 years or older. They must pass background check and physical test. And the program is completely free.
It's completely free, and
free.
They are going to be paid, right, for their time?
Yes. Yes, I believe yes.
Okay, that's good. You know, when I was reading at that, I know you have yet to cover this story.
Yes.
But it will be interesting to know why the need, why such a vast need now.
Yes. So I talked with Chief Ray Goodwin, and he said that Onset Fire Department, as well as other fire departments in the area, they're facing the issue of people leaving the town, and some of those people volunteer for the fire department. So the fire department is facing a shortage of volunteers and workers right now.
All right, very good. So and then there's another announcement, right? What is happening?
Community garden.
Oh, community garden.
Yes, so community garden will host its first workshop of the season tomorrow at 11 a.m. And it's going to be a composting workshop during which guests will learn the basic knowledge, the basic skills of planting your plants, planting your vegetables and fruits. And they can purchase their personal pots for $35 in the community garden.
Very good, very good. I've yet to visit one. Yeah, that's very interesting. All right, so let's dive into our news of the day, and that is the ongoing Stop and Shop strike.
Yes.
What day are we in now?
So the protest began last Thursday at about 1 p.m. So I guess it's the 8th day. Today's Friday. Yes, for more than a week now. So last Thursday, about 31,000 protesters, unionized Stop and Shop workers from more than 240 stores across Massachusetts, Rhode Island, and Connecticut went on strike. And the protesters are represented by United Food and Commercial Workers International Union.
Yes.
And in their press release, they're stating that protesters are fighting against Stop and Shop proposal to cut take-home pay, retirement plan, and the healthcare plan as well.
Absolutely.
For example, I contacted the union representative last week, and in their press release, they told that in January, Stop and Shop proposed to cut pension of newly full-time workers by 32%.
Very good.
Yes, and it's also interesting to notice.
Very bad for that.
Yes, very bad. But it's also interesting to notice that according to the press release that I got from the union representatives, the Stop and Shop made a $2 billion in profit during 2018 fiscal year.
So they are making money.
Yes.
So, and I remember we were digesting this topic even further, and yet to be decided later on with more research. That is this strike a reflection of a much grander problem across international waters? I mean, we know Stop and Shop is a Dutch-owned company. It's not an American-owned company.
Yes.
So why are they doing this now? Kind of thing, right? We know from the history that this is in 1988.
Yes.
There was a strike.
Yes. And but this strike is the longest strike in the history of Stop and Shop, because in 1988 the strike lasted only 4 hours, and I think
it only involved few stores. It was like
47 stores.
47 stores. Yeah.
Yes. I'm not sure exactly how many people, but 47 stores were represented.
Okay. Only for 4 hours.
Only for 4 hours. Yeah. And I'm really curious to see how this protest will resolve, because it will set the precedent for other union workers as well.
Yeah, and back then they were protesting a merger that could prevent that. They're protesting a merger that in order to prevent a hostile corporate environment. I'm assuming that maybe people would have their position have been cut or benefits taken away, and so now Stop and Shop workers they are fighting for their benefits. And reading one of the benefits they wanted to take out is the time and a half on weekends, Saturdays and Sundays. And these workers are paid minimum wage to begin with. So if you are covering Saturday or Sunday, that is a privileged shift, and you count on that to make your bills, right?
Yes.
So to take that out, you know, it's not sitting well with anybody. It wouldn't sit well with me either. So have you gotten to speak with any of the workers there striking?
Yes, I have, but they always redirected me to their representative because they're afraid to misspeak some information. They're afraid to get the information wrong.
All right.
But I did speak to some of them how it affected them personally, and most of them said that they just don't, the salary and Stop and Shop doesn't cover their bills.
Now, this strike has been going for quite some time, a significant amount, to the point that they have to donate the food, right?
Yes, I actually went, so I contacted the representative of Stop and Shop, and they said that they're donating food to local pantries and, local pantries, I'm sorry. And I visited Stop and Shop, and their food is heavily discounted. So Stop and Shop is definitely facing the problem of expiring food. For example, you can buy a steak, Angus steak, 4-pound Angus steak for $18, whereas before protest it was sold for $30. So it's more than 50% discount.
Now, are people taking advantage of those discounts, you feel, or people are standing with the picketers in solidarity?
People, from what I've seen at Wareham, on Stop and Shop on Cranberry Highway, people are standing in solidarity with Stop and Shop, with protesters. Because I've been to Stop and Shop several times now to observe the situation, and there were no customers at all. I haven't seen a single customer there.
And we understand that the managers are working. So if you can go in and you can buy food.
You can buy, and you can check out at self-checkout line.
Okay.
Yes, you can still buy stuff, except you cannot buy fresh seafood products.
Okay. And I believe for those customers who are going in, it's almost the shame of, you know, we are striking out here and you are not supporting us.
Yes, and like I have a problem with that personally because I deeply respect the right to picket, but I feel like some of the protests went beyond civil when standing there for a position. For example, when I walked to the Stop and Shop several times, I've been scolded so heavily, like I've been like, people screamed like, not very appropriate lines and saying, being sarcastic, saying sarcastic, thank you for shopping with us, so thank you for helping us.
Yeah, absolutely, and I've heard that from other people too, that they are very hostile, some of these picketers. Okay, so this is an ongoing situation.
Yes.
And we will see what the outcome of it will be. Yes. What are you covering today?
So today I'm covering Wareham baseball game, Wareham High School baseball game, and also YMCA flashlight egg hunt. Yes.
Today?
Yes, today at 7:30.
Oh my God!
Yes.
Thank you for telling me that. I have inherited my baby sister.
Cool.
So yes.
Cool.
For the first time in a long time, I'm a babysitter, and we will see how that unfolds.
And they will have 3,500 eggs, so you can take plenty, I believe.
You know I am going to pay my money, and I'm going to participate. Well, thank you so much, Nadia, for being here this morning. We highly appreciate you, and because you mean Friday to all of us.
Thank you, Quinn.
To my viewers, thank you for being with us this morning for Good Morning Wareham. It was a great show, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you missed it this morning, do not panic. This episode will air this evening at 6 p.m. We'll be back here on Monday unless our executive director, well, he had great Easter and he feels that we should take that day off. That's yet to be decided. But either or, I think I'll see you here Monday. I wish you all a great Easter. Be careful out there. It's going to pour. So if you're planning to straighten your hair, bring an umbrella. Or just don't straighten your hair at all. All right. Have a good one, Wareham. Bye.